You are being led to a financial slaughterhouse. Everything society taught you about wealth is a lie, designed to bleed you dry. I am exposing the 10 lethal landmines guaranteed to destroy you. Miss the final warning, and you will die rich, but entirely alone. Open your phone right now. Scroll through any social media feed for exactly 5 minutes, and I guarantee you will be suffocated by a toxic ocean of pure delusion. You know exactly what I am talking about. Barely legal kids leaning against rented neon Lamborghinis, waving stacks of crisp hundreds at the camera, swearing on their lives that they hold the secret to your first million in 30 days. It is a relentless barrage of 5-star Dubai yacht parties, photoshopped trading accounts glowing a deceitful green, and luxury lifestyles built on a foundation of maxed-out credit cards and desperate lies. Be honest with yourself for a second. Are you exhausted by it yet? Because I am. I am sick to my stomach watching an entire generation being led to the financial slaughterhouse by these fake wealth messiahs. At the Wealth Ladder US 6 welcomes you to a space where the smoke and mirrors finally shatter. If you are tired of the illusions and crave the raw, unfiltered truth about money, please hit that subscribe button right now to support our channel. Your support gives us the fire to keep producing content that cuts through the noise and actually protects your future. I am not sitting here today to sell you a cotton candy dream. I am not some self-proclaimed financial guru who wants to stroke your ego, pat your back, and whisper sweet, motivating nothings into your ear. Think of me as an older brother, someone who has been chewed up by the market, someone who has stumbled, bled on the battlefield of business, and clawed his way out of the suffocating, pitch-black abyss of financial ruin with his bare hands. Because of that pain, I want to have a conversation with you today that is brutally honest. It will be ruthless. It might even hurt your pride, but it will save your life. Society is obsessed with teaching you the so-called formulas for success, but notice how no one ever teaches you how to not fail. In advanced mathematics and logic, there is a profound principle known as inversion. It simply means flipping the problem upside down. If you desperately want to know how to become wealthy, you must first meticulously study the exact paths that mathematically guarantee your absolute bankruptcy. If you want to survive the unforgiving war of wealth, you cannot just walk around with your head tilted up, staring blindly at the glorious mountain peak of financial freedom. If you do that, you will step on a hidden landmine and be blown to pieces before you even reach the foothills. You have to look down at your feet. You have to recognize the traps. The real game of money is not a glamorous Hollywood movie. It is a realm of cold, unfeeling numbers, forged in iron discipline, demanding the absolute suppression of your primal urges. If you blindly chase get-rich-quick dopamine hits while neglecting to build an impenetrable fortress of defense, this market will swallow you whole and spit out your bones. So today, we are ripping up the script. Instead of handing you a fantasy treasure map that leads nowhere, I am handing you a blueprint for survival. We are going to surgically dissect the 10 most idiotic, catastrophic decisions, the 10 lethal landmines, that are absolutely guaranteed to strip away your hard-earned income, drown you in suffocating debt, and leave you with nothing but regret. Read this map, burn these warnings into your mind, and swear to yourself that you will never, ever walk down these cursed paths. To truly understand how to avoid these cursed paths, we must first look at the deadliest and most seductive trap of all: the desperate need to prove your worth to people who do not even care that you exist. The first massive landmine on your journey is the absolute cancer of ego-driven consumption. We live in a society that has brainwashed you into believing that your value as a human being is directly tied to the logo on your steering wheel or the designer tag on your jacket. I want you to really think about this. You are literally trading the irreplaceable hours of your finite life, bleeding your energy, your youth, and your stress into a paycheck, only to instantly hand that money over to a luxury corporation so you can project an illusion of wealth to strangers at a stoplight. It is utter madness. I have watched brilliant, capable individuals chain themselves to miserable jobs they despise simply because they financed a lifestyle they could not afford to maintain. They are playing a rigged game of dress-up, and the banker is the only one winning. This directly triggers the second landmine, which is the normalization of toxic debt. Debt is not just a financial instrument, it is a psychological prison. When you swipe that high-interest credit card to fund a vacation you have not earned, or a watch that exceeds your net worth, you are essentially stealing from your future self. You are guaranteeing that the person you will be 5 years from now will be suffocating under the weight of your current impatience. I have been in that dark room, staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., feeling the crushing weight of liabilities sitting on my chest, knowing I was one missed paycheck away from total collapse. It is a terrifying, breathless way to live, and no amount of material possessions will ever fill that void of security. And even if you manage to avoid outright debt, the third landmine is always waiting to ambush you. Lifestyle creep. The moment you get a raise, the moment your business pulls in a little extra profit, there is an overpowering temptation to upgrade your life to match your new income. You move to a slightly nicer apartment. You start eating at slightly more expensive restaurants. And suddenly, you are making double what you did 3 years ago, but you are still just as broke. You are running on a hamster wheel that is just spinning faster and faster. Wealth is not created by how much money flows into your bank account. It is determined by how much money you fiercely protect and refuse to let flow out. If you cannot master the discipline to live below your means when you are making $50,000 a year, you will still be flat broke and drowning in liabilities when you are making $500,000. You have to kill the ego, shatter the illusion, and find comfort in living quietly while you build your empire in the shadows. Once you strip away the desperate need for external validation, you inevitably run headfirst into the next psychological slaughterhouse, the intoxicating allure of overnight riches. This brings us to the fourth landmine, one that has absolutely decimated the modern generation: the delusion of the get-rich-quick shortcut. We are biologically wired to seek the path of least resistance, and the internet has weaponized this vulnerability against us. You see a meme coin skyrocket, you watch a teenager make a fortune on a lucky options trade, and suddenly, the slow, methodical process of building real wealth feels agonizingly dull. You experience the terrifying grip of FOMO, the fear of missing out. But let me tell you a harsh truth that took me years of bitter losses to accept. If you are investing based on hype, emotion, or a desperate need to escape your current reality, you are not an investor. You are a gambler, sitting at a rigged casino, blindly throwing your hard-earned capital onto a roulette table while the house laughs at you. When you chase these speculative frenzies, you step right onto the fifth landmine: outsourcing your financial intellect to so-called gurus and anonymous internet crowds. So many people refuse to do the grueling, boring work of actually educating themselves. They do not want to read balance sheets, understand market cycles, or study macroeconomic principles. They just want someone to hand them a secret ticker symbol that will magically change their life by next Tuesday. When you hand over the responsibility of your financial destiny to someone else, you are making yourself a willing victim. When the market inevitably corrects, and it always does, the gurus will vanish into thin air. and you will be left holding a bag of worthless assets, wondering how you could have been so foolish. I have seen grown men weep because they put their family's entire life savings into a project they did not fundamentally understand, simply because a charismatic voice on a screen promised them the moon. This lack of understanding gives birth to the sixth landmine, which is emotional capitulation. The market is a ruthless mirror that reflects your deepest insecurities and fears. If you do not possess an ironclad understanding of what you own and why you own it, the very first sign of a market bleed will send you into absolute panic. You will buy at the absolute top, driven by pure greed, and you will sell at the absolute bottom, paralyzed by sheer terror. You will become the literal liquidity for institutional giants who are patiently waiting to feast on your emotional instability. To survive this war, you must develop a cold, almost robotic detachment from your investments. You must trade patience for profit, realizing that real, generational wealth is built over decades of compounded discipline, not overnight miracles. Yet, even if you manage to avoid the gambling traps and build a disciplined portfolio, there is a silent killer waiting in the comfort of your own routine, slowly eroding your financial foundation while you sleep. The seventh landmine is one that society actively encourages you to step on: the illusion of the safe, secure, single paycheck. We are taught from a young age to go to school, get a good job, and rely entirely on one corporation to sustain our existence. But let me be painfully clear with you. Relying on a single stream of income in today's volatile global economy is the financial equivalent of walking a tightrope without a safety net over a canyon of jagged rocks. You might feel perfectly balanced today, but it only takes one unexpected gust of wind, a corporate restructuring, a global pandemic, a sudden shift in artificial intelligence to send you plummeting into the abyss. When your boss has the power to cut off your ability to feed your family with a single stroke of a pen, you are not free. You are an indentured servant to that paycheck. Failing to build secondary streams of income, whether through side businesses, freelance skills, or dividend-producing assets, is an act of extreme negligence against your own future. Complacency breeds the eighth landmine: the arrogance of a stagnant mind. The moment you believe you have made it, the moment you stop violently pushing yourself to learn new skills, you are already dying in the marketplace. I have watched incredibly successful professionals become entirely obsolete within a span of 3 years because they allowed their egos to convince them that their current knowledge would protect them forever. The world does not care about what you did yesterday. The market owes you absolutely nothing. If you are not dedicating a portion of your time and resources to upgrading your human capital, reading, studying, adapting to emerging technologies, and sharpening your mental sword, you will be replaced by someone hungrier, faster, and more adaptable than you. Hubris is the quietest assassin of wealth. You must remain a perpetual student, approaching every single day with the desperate hunger of a beginner who has nothing to lose. You have to actively engineer your own resilience, constantly stress-testing your life to see where you are vulnerable. You must look at your career, your business, and your savings and ask yourself brutally honest questions about what would happen if it all disappeared tomorrow. If the answer terrifies you, then you have a massive amount of work to do. But surviving the economic battlefield and building a fortress of wealth means absolutely nothing if, in the end, you find yourself sitting alone on a mountain of gold with a broken body and an empty soul. This brings us to the final and most tragic phase of our map, beginning with the ninth landmine: sacrificing your physical and mental sanity at the altar of money. I have known millionaires who are utterly miserable. Men and women who have conquered their industries, amassed untold fortunes, and achieved every financial milestone they ever dreamed of, only to find themselves physically decaying and entirely alone. What is the point of grinding for 20 years to build a massive net worth if your heart gives out at 50 because you lived on a diet of pure stress and zero sleep? What is the point of a sprawling mansion if the halls are silent because your family left you when you refused to ever be present for them? Health and time are the only true, non-renewable currencies you actually possess. Money can buy you the finest doctors in the world, but it cannot buy back the decade of vitality you burned away staring at a monitor, and it cannot buy back the childhood of your kids. Do not trade your life for green paper. It is a catastrophic exchange rate that you will regret until your dying breath. Which leads us to the 10th and final landmine: hoarding without a defined purpose. Money is a magnifying glass. It is a highly efficient tool, but it is a terrible, unforgiving master. If you do not have a deep, philosophical understanding of why you are accumulating this wealth, it will consume you. You will fall into the trap of believing that the next zero in your bank account will finally bring you peace. It will not. If you are empty inside while you are broke, you will be profoundly, devastatingly empty when you are rich. You must define what enough means for you. You must have an exit strategy, not just for your investments, but for your soul. Wealth should be built to buy you freedom. The freedom to control your own time, the freedom to protect the people you love, and the freedom to walk away from tables where respect is no longer being served. I am telling you all of this not from a pedestal, but from the trenches. I have felt the sting of these landmines. I have limped away from the blast zones. The true map of money is not about finding a magic X that marks the spot of endless riches. It is a survival guide for navigating a world designed to strip you of your power. It is about playing exceptional defense, killing your ego, mastering your impulses, and recognizing that true wealth is simply the privilege of owning your own life. Burn this map into your memory. Watch your step, protect your mind, and build a life that no one can ever take away from you. In the end, the journey to true wealth is not a frantic sprint toward an arbitrary number in your bank account. It is a brutal, lifelong psychological war against your own worst instincts and a society meticulously designed to keep you broke. We have navigated the treacherous minefield of modern finance, uncovering the devastating traps that lie in wait for the undisciplined. From the cancer of ego-driven consumption and the suffocating prison of toxic debt to the silent assassins of lifestyle creep and intellectual complacency, every step you take must be ruthlessly calculated. We have seen how the siren song of get-rich-quick shortcuts, the dangerous habit of outsourcing your financial intellect, and emotional capitulation can wipe out years of hard work in a single market panic. More importantly, we have confronted the terrifying reality of relying on a single paycheck and the ultimate tragedy of sacrificing your physical health, your mental sanity, and your family for a mountain of paper. True wealth is not defined by designer labels or the fleeting admiration of strangers. It is the ultimate sovereignty over your own time. It requires you to relentlessly kill your ego, embrace the grueling discipline of long-term investing, and constantly upgrade your human capital. You must define what enough means to you before the endless pursuit of accumulation consumes your soul. By memorizing this map and avoiding these 10 deadly landmines, You are not just securing a financial future, you are reclaiming your absolute freedom. Financial freedom is fundamentally a psychological game, not a mathematical one. The greatest threat to your financial security is never the stock market, the economy, or your employer. It is your own ego and lack of emotional control. Real wealth is the direct byproduct of supreme discipline, delayed gratification, and the profound realization that money is merely a tool used to buy back your time and protect your peace, rather than a master that dictates your self-worth. Start by aggressively auditing your ego and your cash flow. Identify and cut the expenses you are maintaining purely for external validation. Dedicate just 1 hour this week to studying a basic financial concept, like reading a balance sheet or understanding index funds, to reclaim your intellectual independence from online gurus. Next, take the first actionable step toward building a secondary income stream, whether it is monetizing a hobby, freelancing, or investing in dividend-producing assets, so you are no longer entirely dependent on a single boss. Finally, write down your personal definition of enough. Establish a clear threshold of what you actually need to live a free, healthy life, and make a conscious choice today to prioritize your physical health and your loved ones over an extra hour of grinding. Which of these 10 financial landmines do you think is the absolute hardest to avoid in today's society? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to read your perspective, and your insights might just help someone else who is navigating the exact same struggles. If you found value in this message and want to keep arming yourself with the truth about building real, unbreakable wealth, please hit the subscribe button. Your support means everything and gives us the motivation to keep delivering powerful, life-changing content.